Hello and welcome to IronAge Media. Today I'll be discussing two terms that have become hot topics over the past few years in creative communities, fandoms, and indie spaces. Gatekeeping and filtering. What's the difference? Are they necessary? And which one, if either, makes sense for creators and their communities? Let's break it down. Let's start with definitions. Gatekeeping is when access to a group, community, or even an entire industry is controlled through strict entry requirements. This could be anything from deep knowledge of a topic to limiting access to people with specific opinions or even just an in group. There are some good things about gatekeeping. It maintains standards and identity. By keeping the doors closed to just anyone, a community can preserve its original intent, values, and hopefully quality. Prevents exploitation. It helps keep out people who might just be there to take advantage of the group's reputation or resources. Creates a stronger core audience. Because only the most dedicated get in, it can lead to a tight-knit and focused community. There are some drawbacks, of course. That can be exclusionary and feel elitist at times. Some see it as an unfairly keeping people out even though they genuinely want to engage. It can stifle growth and innovation. By keeping out outsiders, you might also be shutting out new ideas. And it's hard to enforce fairly. Who gets to decide who is worthy of entry? And what happens when the standards become too rigid or corrupt? Now, let's talk about filtering. Filtering is when you include content that you know will turn certain people away. Instead of barring the door, you're making it clear through your work, tone, or messaging that certain people just won't like what you're doing. Some good things about filtering are that it's a self regulating audience. Instead of manually having to evaluate each person who gets in, it naturally attracts people who align with your vision and drives away people who don't. It encourages authenticity. You won't have to water down your content to appeal to the broadest audience, and you can stay true to what you want to make. It also solidifies a community identity around what you are actually wanting people to connect with and what kind of work you are most excited about. There are some drawbacks, though. It might alienate people who otherwise would enjoy your work. You can drive away people that you would really enjoy. It may over narrow your audience. So if you include too many filters or you filter too aggressively, you could shrink the reach of your work far more than you intended. And it's also easily misinterpreted. By leaving the consumer to respond to the content, you're opening the door for uncharitable interpretations, either by them or other media critics. So the big difference here is control. Gatekeeping is about setting up barriers to entry and deciding who gets in and who doesn't. Filtering, on the other hand, is about letting people decide for themselves if they belong based on the signals you put out. I would say neither is inherently good or bad. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're protecting a niche craft or community from being diluted, a level of gatekeeping probably makes sense. If you're a creator who wants to build an audience that really gets you, filtering also likely makes sense. Regardless of how you feel or what your plans are with either of these topics, it's important for indies to be aware of them. Getting a creative project to market is already a feat in itself. And with social media being what it is, indies need all the tricks they can to create and maintain their fan bases. If you're a creator, I hope this has given you something to think about. For fans far and wide of all sorts of things, what do you think? Have you seen examples that you've noticed are gatekeeping or filtering in the communities that you enjoy? Do you think that one is better than the other? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and subscribe and all that jazz. It helps me stay motivated, keeping more content like this. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.